inverse trigonomic functions. Now, a lot of the stuff for the trig, I told you guys, you can make your rules all the time. Inverses, not so much. So those, out of all the things that I've taught you, these are the ones that you actually need to try and go through and memorize. Okay, it is kind of annoying, but it's just one of those things, and on the AP exam, and you really don't do much with the inverse trig functions or the inverse functions. It's like a very small window that's on there. So, let's see. Derivative of an inverse function theorem, the derivative inverse function. Now, this is normally super confusing, so I want you to write it down and emphasize this. G goes with the y. That's the function in terms of y. Okay? Is equal to 1 over the derivative of f in terms of x. Now, I too have trouble with this. I have to, item by item, write down every single step. I do, because it's one of those things that actually frustrates the crap out of me because it is backwards all the time. It says in words, the derivative of a function equals to the reciprocal of the derivative of its inverse function. That just sounds like a word salad that I'm trying to confuse you. And it is. But if you write everything down and state what it is that you have, that's where we're going to actually be at here. It says the function f of x is equal to x to the fifth plus x has an inverse function g. Find g prime of 2. So that means I need to find the derivative of g of 2. Now, if it's its inverse, what do we know if it's inverse? If I'm trying to find g prime of 2, what does that tell me? What does that 2 really mean?
Y.
That's the y value. That's the y value of the f. That's important. If you know it's the inverse, so I know it's going to switch the x and the y. So right here, this is just telling me that y, my initial y, is equal to 2. Yes? So that's going to help me out. Also, I'm going to list my stuff. So I'm going to say that f of x, x to the fifth plus x, then I find my derivative of that. So I'm going to have f prime of x is equal to 5x to the fourth plus 1. Like any of those really long problems that we have, labeling everything and item by item, slowly solve it. Start plugging into what we have. I know that my y value is equal to 2 in my function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the y with 2, or my f of x. So I'm going to say that 2 is equal to x to the fifth plus x. Now, you got to do a bit of creative thinking here. Because if you try and factor it out, it's going to give you a headache. Because I tried factoring it like 4 different ways and it gave me a headache. Just creative thinking. What's x going to be? Why is it 1? Why 1 to the fifth plus 1 is 2. So I was going through like all kinds of crazy stuff, completing the squares, doing all kinds of, yeah, I wasn't getting it. So I was going through, I'm like, man, what is, oh, okay. So think simpler. X to the fifth plus x. So that gives me that x, my initial x, is going to be 1. okay still? Christian? You're kind of giving me that look. They're like, what the hell's that? This guy just kicked my dog.
I think it just needs time to sink in.
Do you agree that x is equal to 1?
Yeah, that I agree.
Yeah, that we see it. We are, okay, x is equal to 1. But if I tried factoring it, it would look like this. 2 equals x quantity x to the 4th plus 1. Okay, so how else can I try and factor it here? Yeah, I'm not getting it. So this is one of those super weird problems that you have to look at it and try to solve for it. And because anyone else come up with a better way to actually solve for this? I can't factor it. I can't do much of anything with it to even, because I can't complete the square over here. So yeah. Anyway, so that's the reason why you have to just look at it and identify what it is we have and don't overthink it. So now we know that we have my x value is 1, my y value is 2. So item by item, I'm going step by step trying to plug these in. So if I'm trying to find g prime of 2, I can go back to the last slide and say, it says g prime of 2 is going to be 1 over f prime of 1. Yes, so far? Okay, so again, item by item, I'm just slowly working it out. I'm slowly looking at little bitty parts, okay? I know what f prime is, but now I need to figure out what f prime of 1. So f prime of 1 is going to be equal to 5 times 1 to the 4th plus 1. F prime of 1 is equal to 6. So therefore, my answer over here, 1 over 6. Questions, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories. Bitcoin went up to 91,000 yesterday.
Aliens are from the ocean.
Aliens what?
Aliens
Are from the ocean? We have some of those too, but they're down there living, kind of like Aquaman.
Right from TikTok.
Oh, okay. Or they are what's Atlantis? They're the original Atlanteans. They just decided, hey, go on, screw you guys, I'm gonna need it. So they're like, all right, I'm going over here instead. And been living in a bubble under the sea. Like that crab from Little Mermaid. Under the sea, la da da da. Never mind. My jokes are wasted on you guys.
I only watched the live action.
Ah! Oh man.
We did the musical.
Ah! All right. Who played the part of Sebastian? Did they sing it pretty well?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
really good. It was freshman year, so it was all those seniors.
Oh.
You know, Sai or Aritzia, her sister.
I think so.
She's really good.
Okay.
Played her.
This next one, find the equation of the tangent line. The function f of x is equal to x cubed plus 2x minus 4 is 1-to-1. That means it transfers over, okay, and has inverse function of function g. Find the equation of the tangent line to the graph of g at the point 8,2 on g. 8,2 on g. That's important. That right there is like, I would circle, highlight, underline, italicize, quotations, put a little star, asterisk next to it, you know, all that stuff. Why am I paying such a big point on that one? That it's on G. Go ahead. It's flipped. If it's on G, it's already flipped. Is that what you were saying? Yeah. So G is already flipped. So that means that for my x function, this is actually 2, 8. But since it's on the G function, I'm going to try and find G prime of 8, which is going to be 1 over f prime of 2. Now that I stated everything, now I'm going to go through and start my process. I know what my x and y is, so I don't have to go and actually try and solve for what my x is on this problem. I'm just going to go straight into it. So we know what f is. So if f of x is x cubed plus 2x minus 4, f prime of x is going to give me 3x squared plus 2. And what else do I need to find? What do you think, Christian? What do I need to find next? You could look at the previous problem. What are we looking for?
What x equals?
Okay, now we already have the x and the y here, right? So that's what we did on the last one, because we were only given one value. We were only given me g of 2, right? So we knew what the y, my initial y is, but I didn't know what my initial x was. In this one over here, we know what the x and the y is. So what came after that? What you got? Okay, we're going to do g prime of 8, right? And that's equal to 1 over f prime of 2. So do I need to find anything else? Very good, f prime of 2. So I need to find that one now. So f prime of 2 is equal to 3, 2 squared plus 2. So that's going to be 4, 12, 14. F prime of 2 is equal to 14. So that's going to tell me that this is going to be 1 over 14. Yes, no, maybe? Are we okay? Now, did I answer the question? He's shaking his head. Juju, are you shaking your head? Yeah. So what do I have to find? That's not my final answer.
The tangent line.
Very good. The tangent line equation of the tangent line right there. Equation of the tangent line. So the equation of the tangent line, so do I have a point? And do I have the slope? Okay, let's plug in a point slope. And it's gonna be on, is it on the F or is it on the G? It's on the G, right? So that means it's gonna turn in like this. It's gonna be y minus two. Because it's on the G, not the F, equals 1 over 14 quantity x minus 8. I get y equals 1 over 14 x minus 8 over 14 and plus, what's that, 28 over 14. And then I could just combine those together and I get y equals 1 over 14 x plus 20 over 14. And at this point, I would reduce by a factor of 2, which would give me 10 over 7. Questions, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories? One more example for you. One more example, then we will leave off for today. Derivative of the inverse trig functions. This is the one I was saying that at some point you're just going to have to memorize these ones. So, inverse or arc sine of x, but this one's actually going to be specific now. So inverse sine, the derivative of inverse sine is going to be 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared. And why does 1 have to have a limit here, a restriction? Or I'm sorry, why does x have to have a restriction there? Okay, and if you look, isn't this radical going to be one of my restrictions? What am I allowed to have inside there? Only positive numbers, right? So even though I'm squaring it, it's still subtracting whatever I have. So it can't be 0. If you notice, it can't be 0. Why can't I just have 1? What's 1 minus 1? What's square root of 0? Are we okay to have square root of 0? Yes and no. Depends where it's at. Can it be in the denominator?
No.
That's important right there. I'm allowed to have the square root of 0, but it can't be in the denominator. That's the restriction that we have to pay attention to. What? Did I lose all my notes? Do you guys actually have the notes?
Yeah, I think
Ah.
I have a equation.
Okay, so does it stop here?
No, there's the a and a b.
Okay, so A says what?
Y equals sine negative 1 4x squared.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now send the B.
Yeah, we'll do the B here. Here. Or how about this? We'll start this one and we'll pick up the B tomorrow. All right. So now I'm looking at this problem. First thing you should say is what? What do I have to do first? I got to u sub, right? Why am I u subbing? Is this going to be a chain here? There we go. It's a chain, so I have to u sub that one. So my u is going to be equal to 4x squared. U prime is 8x. Okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say that now y is equal to inverse sine of u. Take the derivative, which is going to give me am I missing anything? Times u prime, right? Times my u prime. Because I sub my u, I gotta have my u prime over here. Now, let's go ahead and put that back. Gotta put that u back. So y prime is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus, because u is all squared, I'm going to put it in parentheses. So that's going to give me my 4x squared, close square, times 8x. I could leave it like this, but if we're checking the answer, the answer is probably going to look like this. Put it together, so it's 8x on top, on the bottom, square root of 1 minus 16x to the 4th. Are we good? Alright, like I said, we'll pick up part B tomorrow. I want you guys to actually have time to start working on this, to get it done. So everyone make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button, support my channel.